You cried over that ending. You replayed the messages. You wondered what you did wrong. But what if the thing that broke your heart was the very thing Allah was saving you from? What if that closed door wasn't rejection, but divine protection? You thought you lost them. You thought you failed. You thought Allah said no. But sometimes Allah doesn't say no. He says, I have something better, just not this. Stay with me. Because what you're about to understand might completely change how you see every loss in your life. Rejection feels sharp. It feels personal. It feels like something inside you was not chosen. When someone leaves, when a door closes, when an opportunity disappears, the first reaction is not calm trust. It is confusion. It is silence. It is that heavy feeling in your chest that you cannot explain. You start questioning yourself. Was I not good enough? Did I say something wrong? Why did this happen to me? The mind searches for flaws. The heart searches for answers. And the ego feels bruised because it expected a different outcome. Rejection attacks your sense of certainty. You had imagined a future. You had built small hopes around that person, that job, that plan. And when it collapses, it feels like your vision of tomorrow collapsed with it. What hurts most is not always the loss itself. It is the attachment to what could have been. You picture conversations that will never happen, moments that will never exist, plans that will never unfold. And in that moment, it feels like Allah took something from you. But here's what we often miss. Sometimes Allah removes what you are emotionally attached to because it is spiritually misaligned. Rejection feels like abandonment, but it is not abandonment. It is interruption. An interruption of a path that may have led you somewhere heavier, somewhere darker, and somewhere that would have slowly drained your peace. When you are inside the pain, you cannot see this. All you feel is loss. But feelings are not always facts. Pain is not always punishment. Sometimes it is repositioning. Sometimes Allah allows your heart to feel temporary discomfort, so your future does not feel permanent regret. And in that fragile space, between what you wanted and what actually happened, your faith is being tested. Will you define yourself by what left? Or will you trust the one who allowed it to leave? Because rejection from people is never rejection from Allah. One of the hardest realities to accept is this: you are not seeing the full picture. You are living inside a single chapter, while Allah is writing the entire story. You see what is in front of you. Allah sees what is behind it, ahead of it, and hidden within it. You see someone's smile. Allah sees their intentions. You see an opportunity shining brightly. Allah sees the stress, the compromise, the unseen consequences attached to it. You see the excitement. Allah sees the long-term outcome. And this is where trust becomes real. Because trusting Allah does not mean understanding everything. It means accepting that His knowledge is complete, even when yours is limited. You might have begged for that person. You might have prayed tahajjud for that opportunity. You might have cried, asking Allah to make it work. But what if Allah, in His infinite wisdom, saw something your heart was too attached to notice? What if that path would have distanced you from your Deen? What if that relationship would have weakened your peace? What if that success would have inflated your ego? We think we are asking for happiness, but sometimes we are unknowingly asking for a lesson. Allah does not remove randomly. He removes precisely. Every separation is calculated. Every closed door is intentional. Every delay is measured. Nothing in your life is accidental. The one who created your heart also protects it in ways you cannot detect. Sometimes protection does not look like a shield. It looks like a loss. Sometimes guidance does not feel gentle. It feels like disruption. But disruption can be divine direction. Years from now, you may look back and realize that what you cried over was actually the moment Allah rerouted you toward something cleaner, calmer, and more aligned. Right now, you see confusion. Allah sees completion. Right now, you see emptiness. Allah sees space being cleared. And when you truly understand that Allah's knowledge surrounds what you cannot even imagine, your heart begins to soften. Because the one who redirected you is the one who loves you more than you love yourself. Redirection rarely feels peaceful in the beginning. It feels like loss. It feels like confusion. It feels like something was taken from you without warning. When Allah redirects you, He first detaches you. And detachment is never easy for the heart. You grow attached to people. You grow attached to routines. You grow attached to dreams you carefully built in your mind. Then suddenly, everything shifts. The calls stop. The plans dissolve. The certainty disappears. And you are left standing in a space you did not plan for. Redirection shakes your comfort zone. It removes familiarity. It forces you into uncertainty. And the human heart does not like uncertainty. We like control. We like knowing what comes next. We like holding on to what feels safe. But sometimes what feels safe is not what is safe for your future. Allah may remove something that felt comfortable, because comfort was slowly limiting your growth. Sometimes the relationship you loved would have slowly drained your confidence. Sometimes the opportunity you chased would have slowly drained your spirituality. Sometimes the path you insisted on would have quietly distanced you from your purpose. But in the moment of loss, you cannot see that. All you feel is the sting. And that sting can make you question everything. Yet understand this: temporary pain can prevent permanent damage. Allah may allow short-term heartbreak to save you from long-term regret. He may break your attachment to build your strength. He may disrupt your plans to protect your destiny. Redirection is not destruction. It is reconstruction. It is Allah rearranging your path before you walk too far in the wrong direction. And though it hurts now, one day you may thank Allah for the very thing you once begged Him to fix. Because what feels like an ending may actually be divine correction. There are doors in life that look perfect from the outside. They shine. They promise comfort. They seem like answers to your dua. And when they open, even slightly, your heart becomes attached. You begin imagining a future behind that door. You start seeing yourself living that life, holding that hand, working that job, walking that path. But sometimes, what looks perfect to you is not written for you. You knock, you push, you pray for it to open fully, and then suddenly, it closes. Not slowly, not gently, but firmly. And that firmness feels like rejection. Yet what if that door closed because it would have led you somewhere heavy? What if it carried hidden trials you were not ready for? What if it required compromises that would have weakened your faith? What if it looked beautiful but lacked barakah? Not every open door is a blessing, and not every closed door is a curse. Sometimes Allah closes a door because He sees what is waiting behind it. We judge by appearance, Allah judges by outcome. You might have seen happiness. Allah saw exhaustion. You might have seen love. Allah saw imbalance. You might have seen success. Allah saw distraction. And because He knows the unseen, He intervened. The door did not close because you were unworthy. It closed because it was misaligned. Allah does not remove good to leave you empty. He removes what is not meant for you to guide you toward what is. There's a powerful truth in this. If something is truly written for you, no one can block it. And if something is not written for you, no amount of effort can force it. When a door closes despite your sincere effort, despite your tears, despite your prayers, that is not failure. That is divine redirection. Trust that the one who closed that door is also preparing the right one. And when the right door opens, it will not steal your peace. It will bring it. There are some protections in life that only make sense in hindsight. Right now, all you see is the loss. All you feel is the emptiness. All you remember is what you hoped for. But time has a way of revealing Allah's wisdom. Months later, years later, you may look back at this exact moment and whisper, Alhamdulillah, not because it didn't hurt, but because you finally understand what it saved you from. There are people who once cried over a relationship that later would have broken them completely. There are people who once mourned a missed opportunity that later would have trapped them in stress and regret. There are moments you thought were setbacks that were actually shields. Allah protects in ways that are invisible at first. Sometimes He protects you from a person's hidden character. Sometimes He protects you from your own impulsive decision. Sometimes He protects you from a future version of yourself that would have drifted away from Him. But protection rarely announces itself. It does not arrive with comfort. It arrives disguised as disappointment. You ask, why did this happen? But later you realize it happened for you, not to you. There are consequences Allah quietly removed from your timeline. There are heartbreaks He prevented before they fully formed. There are burdens He lifted before they settled on your shoulders. And you may never know all the details. You may never see the full list of what Allah saved you from. But just because you cannot see it does not mean it was not there. Faith means trusting that even the unseen protection is real. One day, clarity will come. One day, peace will replace confusion. One day, gratitude will replace grief. And when that day comes, you will realize that Allah was guarding your future while you were mourning your present. What feels like loss today may be the reason you smile tomorrow. One of the most dangerous lies rejection plants in your heart is this: you were not enough, not attractive enough, not smart enough, not successful enough, not lovable enough. And slowly, you begin tying your worth to what left. If they stayed, you feel validated. If they left, you feel diminished. But your value was never dependent on who chose you. Your worth was defined the moment Allah created you. People walk away for many reasons. Opportunities collapse for many reasons. Situations change for many reasons. But rarely is it because you are worthless. Sometimes the timing was wrong. Sometimes the alignment was wrong. Sometimes the lesson was complete. Yet Shaitan whispers that it was about your inadequacy. And if you believe that whisper, you begin shrinking yourself. You start doubting your potential. You start lowering your standards. You start questioning your identity. But understand this clearly. Allah does not remove something from your life to declare you insufficient. He removes what does not fit your destiny. There is a difference between rejection and redirection. Rejection says, "You are not worthy." Redirection says, "This is not written for you." When Allah redirects you, He is not criticizing your value. He is guiding your path. A person leaving does not reduce your honor. A proposal failing does not reduce your dignity. A job declining you does not reduce your capability. Your worth is not measured by temporary outcomes. It is measured by your sincerity, your effort, your connection to Allah. If something was taken from you, it does not mean you were lacking. It may mean you were meant for something greater. Do not internalize what was simply misaligned, because the one who created your heart does not design it to be worthless. He designs it with purpose, and no closed door can take that away from you. When Allah removes something from your life, it can feel like everything stopped. Your plans paused, your expectations collapsed, your motivation weakened. But what feels like a pause is often movement in a different direction. Redirection is not stagnation. It is transition. You may not see progress, but Allah is repositioning you. Sometimes He clears your environment before elevating your level. Sometimes He removes distractions before giving clarity. Sometimes He creates space before sending something better. If nothing was removed, there would be no room for growth. If everything stayed the same, you would never evolve. Allah does not close a door to leave you stranded. He closes it to turn your steps elsewhere. And turning requires movement. It requires trust. It requires courage. It requires letting go of what feels familiar. We often try to run back to what was removed. We try to reopen what was sealed. We try to force what was gently taken away. But forcing what Allah removed only delays what He is preparing. Redirection means your story is still unfolding. It means your life is not finished. It means the path ahead is still being written. What left created space. What ended created opportunity. What hurt created depth. You are not stuck. You are being shifted. Shifted toward maturity. Shifted toward clarity. Shifted toward something more aligned. And one day, when you stand in a place that feels peaceful and secure, you may realize that the movement began the day that door closed. Allah did not stop your journey. He redirected it. When something is removed from your life, your first instinct is often resistance. You want it back. You want answers. You want control. But the way you respond to redirection determines the peace you will feel afterward. The first step is acceptance, not forced acceptance, not pretending it doesn't hurt, but a quiet acknowledgement that Allah allowed this. Say to yourself, if Allah permitted it to leave, there is wisdom in it. The second step is to stop chasing what was removed. Do not beg for a door to reopen if Allah shut it firmly. Do not exhaust your heart trying to revive what has clearly ended. Sometimes closure is Allah's protection. The third step is to make a better dua. Instead of saying, "Ya Allah, give me this specific thing," say, "Ya Allah, give me what is best for me, even if it is different from what I want." This shift changes everything. It moves you from attachment to alignment. The fourth step is Tawakkul. Trust is not passive. It is active surrender. It means you continue your effort, but you release the outcome. You plan, but you allow Allah to decide. You move forward without bitterness. And finally, protect your heart from regret. Do not replay the past endlessly. Do not overanalyze every detail. If it was meant to stay, it would have. What is written for you cannot miss you, and what misses you was never written for you. Your response to redirection can either deepen your faith or drain it. Choose trust, choose patience, choose belief in divine wisdom, because peace does not come from controlling outcomes. It comes from trusting the one who controls them. One day, you will look back at this chapter of your life differently. What feels like heartbreak today may become gratitude tomorrow. What feels like loss right now may later reveal itself as protection. You cried because something ended. But maybe it ended so something healthier could begin. Maybe that person leaving saved you from years of silent pain. Maybe that opportunity disappearing saved your faith, your peace, your future. Maybe Allah removed what you loved because He loves you more. There are plans you made, and there is the plan Allah wrote, and His plan carries wisdom beyond emotion. Right now, you see a closed door, but Allah sees the road ahead. Right now, you feel empty, but Allah is filling that space with preparation. Do not measure your life by what left. Measure it by who is still with you. Allah did not reject you. He redirected you. And sometimes the path you cry over is the very path that would have broken you. Trust His timing. Trust His wisdom. Trust His protection. Because the one who closed that door is the same one who will open the right one at the perfect time. And when it opens, you will understand why this one had to close. Before you leave this video, think about the door you're still crying over. Now imagine standing 1 year from today, stronger, calmer, and more aligned, realizing that if that door had stayed open, you would not be where you are. Some endings are not losses. They are rescue missions. If this message touched your heart, don't scroll away unchanged. Comment, "I trust Allah's plan," and mean it. Let that be your declaration tonight. Because the story is not over. The door that closed was not your destination. And what Allah is preparing next may be bigger than what you lost. Stay patient, stay aligned, and trust the author of your story.